Dawn Barton is a joyologist. She's been able to find happiness during the worst times and in the unlikeliest places. So what's her secret? It's a lesson she had to learn the hard way.
When author Dawn Barton says joy is a choice, she means it. She has experienced more heartache in her lifetime than you could imagine. The loss of a child, cancer, and her husband's substance abuse. Yet despite Dawn's difficult journey, she found God and unexpected joy in the midst of her pain. In her book, Laughing Through the Ugly Cry, Dawn shares personal stories on how to find happiness and purpose, even in your darkest days.
Well, Dawn Barton joins us now via Skype. And Dawn, it's great to have you with us.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we have mentioned just a few of the traumas you talk about in your book, things that you've endured that would destroy many people. How do you find joy through things like cancer or the death of a child?
Well, I don't think that when we're right in the midst of it, that there's joy, of course. And I don't want to ever sound flippant about that. But I will say through the trials of losing a child and being raped and my husband's alcoholism and my sister passing away from cancer, there were so many unexpected blessings and unexpected lessons. And I just came to realize that in it, that joy is God and God is joy. And so it just started to shine a little bit more through each trial that I had.
How do we position ourselves to be able to look for those things or even recognize them in the midst of the trial or the trauma?
Well, I think the saying that joy is a choice sounds so cliched, but I truly believe it is. I think that joy is a focus before it's a feeling. And I think like when we get up in the morning and we put on a shirt, same thing. We have to put on the ability to focus on joy, just like we focus on peace or we focus on love. And I think that it truly is, as cliched as it may sound, but it's a choice. It really is.
Is this, I think some people would wonder, is this a fake it till you make it sort of approach, or how do you do that?
Oh, gosh. I think sometimes, believe it or not, it kind of is. I remember when I lost my child, I had a faith that was fragile, to say the least. And I broke up with God. God didn't break up with me. I broke up with God. And in that season, God sprinkled people in my life. And I remember trying to act happy when you don't feel it and be happy for the child that I still had at home. And that was, I think, a little bit of faking, but not what became this strained, forced thing then became a natural thing. And I think sometimes we just have to. I remember seasons when I just needed to get out of bed. Yeah. And so maybe that is kind of faking it, but yeah.
Well, I think it's almost like what I noticed was you never let yourself become swallowed up by the grief of things. But talk a little bit about grief, because grief is a normal part of the moving on process. So how did you deal with that?
Well, I definitely had hellacious grief and in and out of it in different seasons. Sometimes you're driving down the street and you have to pull over because it just hits you like a ton of bricks. But I was also proactive about it. There were times when I, of course, didn't want to get out of bed. And there's that moment where you just say, go take a shower today. You have to get up. And then I had therapy and I got into the Word. And this is in the seasons that I finally really came to know God. I realized that going through my struggles with Him was much different than going through my struggles without Him. And it was so different. It was just this difference of a feeling as if you're almost being carried in a sense, versus struggling and treading water on your own. And so for me, the grief is getting in the Word. And I don't mean to sound cliched and flippant about anything like that, because there is a season that is so unbelievably painful, but you do have to, at some point, seek help if that's what you need and move forward.
Talk a little bit, if you will, about your cancer, because it was an unexpected occurrence, but you say that it became a strange, unexpected gift. In what way?
It really did. At that time, my husband was active duty with the Navy and he was in Bahrain. So I was at home with a 4-year-old. And I had just been diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. And one of the sweetest, most beautiful things that I heard is this will be the worst year of your life and the best year of your life. And I thought at the time, No, it won't. It'll definitely be the worst year of my life. But it wasn't, because through that, I came to see God just shower me with incredible people who had wonderful gifts of nurturing and loving and caregiving. So even though my husband was God, my husband, my husband was gone, I felt this overwhelming feeling of love that just carried me through. And I don't think I would have ever experienced all those incredible gifts had I not had cancer.
Yeah. Scripture says that the joy of the Lord is your strength. How have your joy and your faith gone hand in hand?
Oh gosh, it is my life, you know. Like I said, God is joy, joy is God. And I think that having experienced portions of my life where that faith wasn't there, and then to watch joy and faith and the things that God has done. You know, when my husband battled with alcoholism, I was in a season that I believed there was no way God could heal where we were. There was so much hurt and there was so much anger. There was no way. And then you can see where today we had faith and now there is joy, and that it just continues and continues.
Yeah. It's an amazing story and a wonderful book. I want all of you who are with us today to know you can read more about choosing joy in Dawn's book, which is beautiful, by the way. It's called Laughing Through the Ugly Cry, and it's available wherever books are sold. But you really do address some amazing challenges and difficulties with a word of encouragement for everybody. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So good to talk with you.